Hello there, a very good evening to you. You're live here on GHOne TV. It's time for News Tonight with me, Natalie Ford. Coming up this evening, fears of food insecurity grow as farmers along the Kubori River in the Upper East region begin premature harvesting of their farm produce following the inundation of their farms by water from the spilt Kupenga and Bagri dams in Burkina Faso. But crop scientist Professor Roger Canton takes on government over its lack of support for farmers affected by the prolonged absence of rains in the northern parts of the country.
What I think government should have been doing by now is to have told us what packages they have for the farmers.
Also ahead, future of 2024 BECE candidates hangs in limbo as WAEC allegedly suspends marking of exam papers due to government's indebtedness to it.
Marking should have taken place this month, but they have postponed it to next month, hoping that they will get some money.
Ahead in business, Bank of Ghana urges market players to uphold the highest form of ethical excellence.
CI member must prioritize the protection of consumer rights and ensure that products and services are fair.
Let's settle down for the details here on News Tonight. Across the world, you can watch this bulletin on Facebook and X at GHOne TV. Let's get started with Insight. Our focus on Insight this evening is on farmers across the Kubori River in the Binduri district of the Upper East region who have started premature harvesting of their crops due to flooding from the spillage of the Kupenga and Bagri dams. The annual dam spillage often results in farmers in the Upper East and Northeast regions losing their crops to water. Despite constant information sharing by the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, with farmers in the communities like Sapeliga, Kubori and others, many crops are not yet ready for harvest. However, with the dam spillage occurring a few days ago, farmers are forced to harvest their crops early as the overflowing Kubori River floods their farms. Well, joining us now is Ayaba Abdul Aziz from Max Empire FM. He visited the affected farms on Wednesday and provides more insights into the situation via Zoom. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, from your assessment, how serious is the impact of the spillage, specifically of the dam, with regards to farms in the community?
Well, so the farmers around the White Water here, I mean, those are the Boku West district, and then at the Binduri district, around the Kobori, and then the Sapelga, along the banks of the White Water are actually facing a lot of challenges. One, you're talking about the spillage of the Bagri Dam. Yesterday, we spent about 3 hours speaking to the farmers, and it has been very, very serious. What happened is that farmers along the banks of the White Water are harvesting their crops prematurely because of the downpour and then the spillage of the Bagri Dam. Speaking to us, they actually complained about debt and then how they can be able to manage to pay debts after this spillage, because some of them are farming in a large quantity of farmland, and most of the income generation from the farm are always coming from loans they take from banks and then from neighbors. So looking at the destruction of the water, or the high level of the water at the White Water and then the banks to the farmers have actually distracted. Most of them are farming maize, okra, carrot, and some vegetable, some vegetables. So it has been very, very serious. And what happened is that some of them are also saying that they are actually walking away with their crops because they believe, and then monitor news from the media, that the water will be becoming more serious these days. So that is why they are harvesting some of their crops away. So it has been very serious.
Right, Ayaba. So you say that the situation has been dire. They've had to harvest prematurely, and they complain of debt. Now, as it stands, have you engaged with NADMO officials? What have they told you currently?
Yeah, so we've spoken to the NADMO officer from the Biduri district here on Max Empire a few days ago, and they encourage most of the farmers along the banks of the White Volta to take more precautions because the water levels keep increasing. And since there wasn't rain for about 4 weeks, almost a month without a serious rain, now that it started raining, we'll be experiencing more flows on the bank. So at least this will harvest and then move away from the banks of the White Volta around the Kobore, the Sapelega, and then some parts of the Binduri district. So the farmers too are also saying that they are appealing to the government to look at, to have a way of, putting them on a good situation than always talking about Bagre Dam and White Volta every year. If they have any solution, they should do it to keep this problem.
Very well. Thank you so much for the update there, Ayaba. You say, clearly the situation is only likely to get worse in the days ahead. We'll certainly engage you in subsequent bulletins for more on that. Ayaba Abdulaziz from Max Empire FM, who's been monitoring the situation over the past few days. Now, let's speak with the chief executive of that's the district chief executive of the Bokwo West District, Daniel Anania Atumpuba, who until his appointment was the district's coordinator for NADMO. For more on this development, good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, as you know, the Kupenga and Bagre dams have been spilt, and already farmers are bearing the brunt and really the impact of this situation. Have you visited the area, and what's your assessment of it? Yes, I hope you heard my question there, Daniel. I was saying that it's clear, as our reporter just shared, that the situation is dire. Have you visited the community, and what's your assessment of it currently?
Good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers. Thanks so much for having me. My last name is Atampuba.
Okay, very well.
Atampuba. Yeah, actually, I was the district NADMO coordinator before the president decided that I should represent him in the district. Yeah, I've been to the White Volta today to ascertain and find and look at the level of the water at the White Volta. We had some rains a few days ago, and as a result of the heavy rains, the White Volta overflowed its banks. But as of now, the spilled water from the Bakri Dam hasn't reached the district yet. And then the Bokwo district is the first point when spilled water comes from the Bakri Dam.
Right.
It hits Bokwo West District at a community called Galaka, where we both from Burkina Faso comes to meet up to other parts of the district to Nabda and that of Talisi and then to the northeast. So we are still monitoring. Whenever there's spillage, it takes around 42 to 73 hours before the water will come. It was done on Monday to see, but and then we are continuing with our sensitization. The NADMO coordinator.
Right. Well, Daniel Atampuba there. Seems like we have a few breaks with the connection via Zoom, but clearly sharing that the spillage has not yet reached the district, but as expected, the situation is only likely to get worse, and they'll be monitoring and will certainly be engaging in subsequent bulletins. And as you also heard, the farmers, they're calling for increased support from the government as it pertains to this perennial situation. More on this subsequently. While Professor Roger Canton, a former research scientist with the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, has expressed strong reservations about the government's seeming lack of support for farmers affected by the drought in the northern part of the country. Now, according to him, the severity of the situation is compelling some frustrated farmers to consider suicide. He further noted that he is impressing upon the government to, as a matter of necessity, fashion out tailored remedies to ameliorate the plight of these vulnerable farmers whose investments have been completely damaged. He made the comments on Morning Star. He spoke earlier with my colleague, Lantam Papanko.
It's quite a very serious, in fact, it's a hopeless case in some of the areas. And I think the government should really, to me, what I think government should have been doing by now is to have told us what packages they have for the farmers, because it's a dire situation.
It's a dire situation.
I am even told some people are attempting suicide, which is normal, because when you invest, millions of Ghana cedis, these days things are hard. People say, so you can imagine if people are struggling and all that you have, you've invested, you've gone for a loan. And Ghana, our interest rates are the highest in the sub-region.
Yeah.
You go for a loan for 27% profit, interest rate. How are you going to come out of this? And another funny thing which we have in this country, no one grants insurance to farmers. They always say that agriculture is expensive, it's risky. But nobody will tell you that eating food is risky or expensive. You see the conundrum. Nobody says that.
Well, concerning situation there as farmers increase calls for government to support. We'll certainly monitor and bring you more in the coming days. That wraps up Insight for tonight.
Insight was brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal for strong teeth and gums and Pepsodent Charcoal for natural whiter teeth.
Away from that, let's turn to education. The Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana are demanding the extension of the academic calendar after nearly 70 days of industrial action by members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG. This follows the resumption of academic and administrative activities in all the 46 colleges of education yesterday. Members of CETAG embarked on an industrial action on June 14 over the government's failure to implement a binding agreement which had been pending for the past 2 years. CETAG has served notice to resume the industrial action if the government fails to comply with the roadmap. However, the trainees in a statement said it will continue to dialogue with government and key stakeholders to ensure adjustments to the academic calendar to meet their needs.
14.
Well, let's stay on this a while longer. Joining us over Zoom is the president of the Teacher Trainees Association, Razak Swale. Good evening to you, Razak. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, finally, teachers are back in the classroom, but you continue to press home your demands and wanting to further engagement with stakeholders. What are your current concerns as it stands?
Yes, good evening to all your cherished viewers, and good evening to all teacher trainees across all the public.
Well, we're working the Zoom lines to clearly hear him there as he provides an update on this situation. And as it stands, teachers have returned to the classroom, and we still do have SETAG. However, the trainees concerned that they want a readjustment of the academic calendar to meet their needs. I mean, if there's been a backlog of educational activities within the colleges, and they're calling for government and key stakeholders to adjust the academic calendar to ensure that they are able to complete needed studies before the end of the semester. And so Razak Swale is the president of the Teacher Trainees Association. And you would recall that there's been nearly 70 days of industrial action by members of SETAG, pressing home their demands to the government and mentioning that they've served notice to resume industrial action, that if the government fails to comply with this roadmap that has been set out, based upon which they have decided to return to the classroom. Now, we'll certainly be further engaging stakeholders and the trainees to decipher what adjustment is possible currently with the academic calendar to meet their needs before the end of the semester. Well, we'll return to that issue shortly here on News Tonight, but let's stay on education-related stories as the future of children who wrote the 2024 Basic Education Certificate Examination is in limbo, following the government's inability to release funds to the West African Examination Council, WAEC, to enable them mark their scripts. Now, according to the minority in Parliament, this development is likely to disrupt the academic calendar of the students. Speaking to GHOne News, the ranking member of the Education Committee, Peter Notri Kotoi, called on the government to immediately release funds to the examining body, which has postponed the marking of scripts from this month to September.
WAEC was about to postpone the conduct of BECE. So we had to come in as a minority before some money was released to them. They released about 50 to 60%. That was enough for the conduct of the examination. Now they have done the organization of the examination. It was successfully completed. Now, there's something we call post-examination activities. Okay. That is coordination, marking, and then release of results. They are yet to release money to WAEC. The marking should have taken place this month, but they have postponed it to next month, hoping that they will get some money. They have already postponed the marking to September instead of this month. Yes, because you cannot invite examiners to come and mark and you won't pay them.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Do stay with us. We bring you more shortly. Welcome back to News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Let's return to our earlier story as the leadership of SETAG has called off the nationwide strike. However, trainees have released a statement in which it says that it will continue to dialogue with the government and key stakeholders to adjust the academic calendar to meet their needs. We're engaging earlier with Razak Swale, president of the Teacher Trainees Association. Razak, I believe you're hearing me now. Now, teachers are back in the classroom, which is a measure of good news, but you say that you continue to press home the need to engage stakeholders to readjust the academic calendar. What exactly are your demands currently as it stands?
Yes, like I was saying earlier on, the strike is over. We are happy about that, but within over 65 days, the strike has been restricted. So this has plugged the academic calendar in a state of that is uncertain, because if you look at the number of days that are left for us to go down in the colleges of education, we are barely left with some 2 weeks, for which we have not written our mid-semester examination, we have not also written end-of-semester examination. There are so many works that are yet to be done. So what we are urging and appealing to all our stakeholders, including PRINCO, which is playing an integral role in remedying this calendar, is to add some 2 months or 1 month to the academic calendar, so that we'll be going down rather in October ending. That way, the academic calendar will be good for students to be able to undertake their academic activities. They also embark on all their examination activities for us to be successfully complete the semester.
Right. So, Razak, simply put, you're calling for an extension up until October, yes?
Yes.
And how has that been received so far? I know it's early yet that you've made this appeal, but has it been received positively?
Yeah, it has been received positively, because it was yesterday and today we started making our calls. But earlier today, PRINCO, including our teachers and then teachers, started conversations around it, and then we are hopeful that discussions will be centered on this, and then the academic calendar will be pushed to the October, and maybe from tomorrow or in the coming days, we might even receive a new academic calendar that suits the current trend, so that students will not be at disadvantage the most.
Very well. Thank you so much for the update this evening. Razak Swale joining us, the president of the Teacher Trainees Association. More on that subsequently. You're watching News Tonight. Let's turn to some other news this evening. Illegal mining activities is set to increase in the spate of cleft and pallet conditions across the country. Now, according to the Chief Executive Officer of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opoku Ampoma, cleft conditions have become very common, as 1 in 1,200 children are born with them. He warned that the situation may worsen if pragmatic measures are not put in place immediately.
Clefts are caused by a number of factors. So there are genetic factors and environmental factors. Then the genetic factors are that you've inherited an abnormal gene, and because of that, you are able to get a cleft condition happening. So it may be a vitamin deficiency, maybe some medications or some toxin that the mothers are exposed to. Now, we also know that heavy metal contamination, or some of the substances that are used in the galamsey activities are some of the substances that can actually cause birth defects. And since clefting is one of the common birth defects, you can say by extension that if you have a situation where your water bodies or your food sources get contaminated with a lot of these heavy metals, then the chances of you getting children born with these abnormalities will be higher. The Ghana situation, we still have about 1 in, we still see clefts quite commonly, and they do come from all over the country, and we see them from, the western region, from, the middle belts, etc., even in the north as well. But then if you want actual data, we are still collecting data. It's a precaution that we have to. We don't have to wait for it to happen before we now come and tell the story. But I believe that once we already know that these things will cause some of these conditions to happen, then it's important for all of us to take the necessary steps to make sure that our water and our food sources stay free from such contamination. We usually would repair the cleft lip at the age of 3 months, but there are some criteria, so usually between 3 to 6 months. But there are some criteria that must be met. The child must be nutritionally okay, all right? It must have, we will check the blood, the hemoglobin must be okay. It doesn't have any other condition. We also check whether they have any other respiratory problems or any other infection.
You're watching News Tonight, and we're just a few months away from election 2024. This is your election hub. Let's take some election-related news next. On On Election Hub this evening, flag bearer of the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, is admonishing political parties, particularly the NDC and MPP, to commit to peace and sign any document which safeguards national cohesion. His comment is in reaction to a decision by the biggest opposition party, NDC, which has generated varied reactions that it would not sign any peace pact without some 6 conditions met ahead of the December polls. In an interview with Star News, the APC founder said there can only be peace in a country where there is peace.
Election until today, Hassan Ayariga has always been the first person to advocate for peace in this country and also advocate for free, fair election. I've signed all treaties and all agreements made or even at most cases, I even request that there should be a peace agreement between all political parties, and most importantly, the NDC and the MPP. Now, let us not forget, it is only when there's peace that we can go in for elections, and nobody can rule a burning nation. So I will advise the NDC that this is not a do or die kind of elections. We've contested all these elections since from 1992. And to show their level of tolerance and their level of maturity and their level of being one of the parties that have ruled this country, they should sign any form of peace accord, whether directly or indirectly, whether from any party or any institution. It is for them to demonstrate to the world that this election is going to be peaceful. This election will be free and fair. The president is not above the law of the Republic of Ghana. Nobody is above the law. So when the people make their decision, you cannot subvert the will of the people.
And earlier on GH Today, here on GHOne TV, we visited the Ablekuma North constituency for the Maiden Constituency Connect ahead of the 2024 elections. Take a look at what they had to say.
On person 200 cities koto abamame delegates for na GG 5k any fridge ni aja hihye omo na wa be convince say me beto ma MPP ye to about but me beto ma MPP put me chairman ye koso ye nim dia o man na ekọ what ya say
2020 uto abama hwan
man to aba obi be mam ska say me kota kra don koto me se me nto me ji scan di
o ma o say
lorry for man 200 Ghana say me kota kra don koto aba me se me nto me wa na me to aba aba me chen say me nto wa ha me to we because of MPP no say me ji scan koto but on kan chem say me ji scan your business so what ya say nti say about to dey me meja about to ye nto aba bio me ka me kwa ka ballot box e be su amade a che mo obi an koto aba ba Ghana for be so la ma cha koto aba obi an na adwe me about to dey ehunya so beto aba
na wan to aba se wo omwa o man
na ka so obi an bo obi an ti no obi an tena so na obi an bibian
wo so ye MPP ni tinka me ji so beto ama Dr. Baumia
oh obi a nya papa MPP and so mu na nya correct
obi a ba promise o ye obi a ba promise a obeye just omunyuma no na da omumwa ye isu to a na eyiri environment ni nyina gates ni nyina etwoku at the same time go say na ko amanfo fie itama ye ho kire road ni nyina gates ni nyina atwoku omuba omuso mbeye so no matran so no moko we ba no cause the same problem ka men ko nka sa MPP ni NDC mpoko mu nyina mfiri so na kiyan fa new person bra a obetimi aba ba hwe kwashima constitution you know because the way omuka omoye no kiyan new person a obetimi aba be gina ama both party no omo difference na ewo mu no because obi aba na da
na nyama bi kwaso na ya first na meto aba makufo na sisi mbetana ba say 24 years ni nsuo ta efanye MPP abatena so a bibia ni wo maaye nti ma sesa ma adwen se meto ama NDC sisi a meter bi omudi ababo ya de meter bobo enya 1 month ya top light 400 month nso ye nti meto ama NDC
na unwo GDS NDC ba
o me ya de Jama Malcono, na petrol, 14 cities, 50%. You see, I say, we'll be drivers almost 75, we'll be 80. Into Metro Mendes.
They say, I quite na here. A quite one way, we feel so to move a traffic woman, and Kayaba says, woman, ye are quine, and my ura, bet me a pianachessa. I ain't tell my. If you are saying, well, dear Conin, it is a 1 year old one more brand, and you've been a baby one. Tia son, and I saw on ye a quine of mine, or my manus in your Jumanye. So many Jumaya, or your batana, or fear ya, or Bakwa, or Yaka Cradia, bro, no, so when you be.
Now, Voters Connect from earlier in the day there. We bring you Voters Connect on GH Today. That's how we wrap up Election Hub here. Next on News Tonight, we bring you business news. In business this evening, the Bank of Ghana has emphasized the importance of ethical excellence as a pillar for the future of the financial markets, particularly in the pursuit of innovation and inclusiveness. The central bank urged financial markets players to uphold the principles of integrity, transparency, and accountability to ensure stability and sustainability in the financial markets. There's more in this report.
The Maiden Financial Markets Conference, organized by ACI Ghana, is aimed at advancing Ghana's financial markets while promoting a culture of innovation, ethical excellence, and inclusion. Speaking on the theme, Navigating the Future, Innovation, Ethical Excellence, and Inclusion in Ghana's Financial Markets, Head of Financial Markets at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Zachary Mumuni, emphasized that ethical excellence is not just a regulatory requirement, but a fundamental aspect of corporate culture.
Ethical excellence extends beyond the provision of these codes. Members must imbibe these ethical codes and exhibit the same in their dealings. The ordinary ACI member must prioritize the protection of consumer rights and ensure that products and services are fair, transparent, and designed to meet the needs of their clients. In your dealings, ACI members should provide clear and concise disclosure of terms and conditions, fair pricing mechanisms, and aimed at addressing consumer complaints and disputes.
Deputy Finance Minister Abna Osei Asari, who also spoke at the conference, urged market players to prioritize integrity and transparency in their daily activities to drive progress.
We must ensure that our pursuit of progress is guided by integrity, transparency, and accountability. Inclusion is the third pillar of our future. We must harness the power of financial markets to serve the unserved, the underserved, and the marginalized. We must break down barriers and create opportunities for all Ghanaians to participate in our financial ecosystem. I believe that as we navigate this future, we must confront the challenges of 1, regulatory frameworks that balance innovation with risk management. 2, cybersecurity threats that imperil our digital financial structure. 3, climate change and environmental degradation that demand sustainable financial solutions.
ACI Ghana President Lawrence Osilaja Bwampong called for greater collaboration among financial market players to address current trends and challenges while promoting transparency, accountability, and inclusive growth.
Faced the evolving challenges and opportunities within our industry, it is crucial that we come together to address these pressing issues. We are here to foster dialogue, promote integrity and transparency, and drive inclusive growth. However, the path forward requires more than just individual efforts. It is imperative that we, as a community, strengthen collaboration between peer associations, regulators, and industry stakeholders. The presence of such a diverse and distinguished group of leaders here today is a testament to the potential of collective action.
The conference provided insights and facilitated dialogue among market players, including banks, broker-dealers, asset managers, fintech companies, regulators, and technology providers.
In some more business news, funding from USAID and the World Bank through the iReach project has empowered the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute to establish a technology park and secure a partnership with 3 academic institutions and 4 agricultural aggregators. This initiative promotes smart agricultural technologies among farmers in the northern region. The partnership will allow beneficiaries to demonstrate and adopt high-yielding crop varieties in cultivation.
The CSIR SARI Technology Park, supported by funding from the World Bank and USAID through the Central Africa Research Council and Development Initiative, known as iReach, is set to showcase various smart agricultural technologies. These include improved high-yielding seeds designed for farmers in the Savannah Ecological Zone. The signing of a 5-year MOU partnership agreement will provide the Faculty of Agriculture of the University of Development Studies, UDS, Tamale Technical University, and Damango Agricultural College the platform to display their innovations in smart technologies. According to Professor Marianne Dorcas-Quain, Deputy Director of CSIR, the partnership will also involve 4 seed companies and 1 NGO working with crop farmers to adopt pest and disease-resistant varieties. This initiative is expected to reduce farmers' production costs by 30% while enhancing the Institute's resources.
Talking of capacity, we are to some extent limited. And that is why we are partnering with others for upscaling and outscaling. So we, as a research organization, our mandate is for breeder seeds and foundation seed. There wouldn't be the excuse to import a hybrid into the country because we have these hybrids that we are churning out. For the crops which are vegetatively propagated, like yam, sweet potato, cassava, we have very resilient technologies to ensure there's adequate planting material, which will cut down about 30% of the farmer's cost.
Dr. Jonas Osei-Edu, CORAF Development Manager, emphasized the importance of collaboration between the private sector and research institutions to link research with technology users for upscaling.
Africa must feed itself. We cannot afford to still depend on importation. We have the land, we have the resources, we have the technology. But what is lacking is the link between research and technology users. You need the universities who have also developed several technologies. You will need the seed companies to be able to multiply seed and sell. We're not looking at giving seed for free, but commercializing the seed. And you can only do that with the seed companies. And that's where the partnership becomes very critical, where we pull our resources together to achieve a common goal.
The 2021 Best Farmer, Alhaji Mashood Mohammed, and the Executive Director of ACDEP, Malex Alabikia, who also signed the partnership agreement with SARI, pledged their support for the Institute's research efforts for the benefit of farmers.
Well, that's all the business news we've got for you this evening. Do stay with us. We've got sports news shortly. You're welcome back to News Tonight. And in studio is Monica Bukhari with the very latest from the world of sports. Monica, what for us?
Natalie, many have been wondering why the need be for us to spray pitches before games, and NSA Boss has been speaking to us on this particular issue. I've got this plus boxing and some transfer news, so do stay with me. After this break, I'll be back. The director for the National Sports Authority, Doji Numekevo, has revealed spraying of the football pitch ahead of games in Kumasi as normal practice in pitch preparations ahead of games. Speaking on the game here on GHOne TV and Star FM, he said there were no issues with spraying the grass on the pitch before matches, as it is a normal practice even in Europe.
It's normal. Okay, those are normal things. That's why I said to you earlier, and please note this. Even on the day of the match, when the teams go on recess, you turn on the sprinklers and then you spray. Because at every point in time, the grass would have to be very, very soggy. They have to be very, very green to have a beautiful game. So what's wrong with spraying the football pitch days before the match? It's normal. Even in advanced countries, it's done. So it's done. Okay?
That you spray green elements on the pitch before games.
What green element?
Because I can't tell whether it is paint. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Green elements, not using the word paint.
Oh, of course. I mean, everything you do to make the pitch ready for the match, you do it. And that's what I'm saying, that even when the teams go on halftime, on recess, you still have to spray water. You still have to do something to make sure that the grass is very fine for the game.
Now to some boxing news, the CEO of Kabik Promotions and Management, Ivan Bruce Kujo, has decried the rising level of deceit within Ghana boxing, urging a significant shift to rescue the sport from its current decline. Speaking at a media briefing to announce the upcoming promotion event scheduled for Friday, September 13, Ivan Bruce Kujo delivered a scathing critique of various stakeholders, describing them as vultures feeding off and damaging the integrity of local boxing. Kabik Promotions and Management, which burst into the Ghanaian boxing scene in 2017, quickly established itself by developing local talent and organizing top-tier boxing events. Known for propelling the career of Ghanaian heavyweight Richard Latte to international fame, the promotion house also boasts talents like Patrick Alote and a lineup of promising young boxers. After a surprising intermission, Kabik Promotions made a strong comeback. On Thursday, August 22, CEO Ivan Bruce Kujo broke his silence at a media briefing announcing their next big promotion event slated for Friday, September 13.
A lot of people that came into our folds did not help. Some of them were just to milk us. And I would say to matchmakers, coaches, and the like, that when people come into boxing and they don't know much about boxing, just do your best and guard the people well. Not just, what you get. You tell the person's stories here and there and making money out of the person, rather than the boxers themselves that we have to just promote.
Ivan Bruce Kujo didn't hold back, cautioning local boxers against engaging in match fixing, which he says tarnishes the sport's integrity.
If you're a boxer, what is your ultimate? Is it that you want to be part of the people, or you want to be on top of the game? So please, if you are one of those, that your intention is just maybe 1,000 cedi here, 2,000 here, 3,000 there, just to come and, make a mark on the stage, don't dare come.
The upcoming event will headline an 8-round super featherweight contest between Emmanuel Mankata and Sunday Adeleye as the main event.
We hope that what we have started, the last one, this one, and going into December, should open the door for us by next year to have hopefully raised the brand Kabik to where it was before. And we're hoping to surpass that and hopefully take our boxers even international.
Fans can also look forward to seeing some of the finest local talent in action, including Elvis Ahoga, aka Soldier Boxer, Emmanuel Kwe, Habib Kahinde Jiwa, Michael Darko, Samson Jara, Kofi Dana, Richard Amefu, and Jesse Latte. And that's all we have for you on Sports Brief. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Natalie.
Great having you with the sports news, Monica. You're watching News Tonight. We've got international news next. The second largest diamond ever found in a rough 2,492 carat stone has been unearthed in Botswana at a mine owned by Canadian firm Lucara Diamond. It is the biggest find since the 3,106 carat Cullinan diamond found in South Africa in 1905 and cut into 9 separate stones, many of which are in the British Crown Jewels. The diamond was found at Karowe Mine, about 500 kilometers north of Botswana's capital, Gabon. Gaborone, Botswana's government said it is the largest diamond ever discovered in the southern African state. The previous biggest discovery in Botswana was a 1,758-carat stone found at the same mine in 2019. Botswana is one of the world's biggest producers of diamonds, accounting for about 20% of global production. Oh, interesting one there. There's more international and local stories available on our website, starfm.com.gh. Thank you so much for watching News Tonight this evening. It was produced by Musa Lanza. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a great evening.